On the other hand, we are now live, fellas. Good morning, world. Thank you all for tuning in with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Thank you once again as we conversate about the latest sports topics that has taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in and participate with us every weekend. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page. We additionally this week, Jamar, right, we are able to share our podcast on Facebook. And so you can find us on Facebook if you are looking for a podcast as well. We're on Spotify as well. I got some feedback from a friend this week. YouTube, we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or any various place where you can find your podcast as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, and Peoples Hernandez. And after a month plus hiatus, we came back last week, and now we're back for a second week in a row. Today is March 26th of 2022, and we have yet again seen a fascinating week in the sports world, where we saw a number of jaw-dropping and surprising moves in NFL free agency, in which our boy Jamar Goodman has been on it like white on rice. He has been reporting every single move, keeping all fans interested in their respective teams, and being basically a Adam Schefter 2.0. And so that's been great, including the reporting on Deshaun Watson, who signed with the Cleveland Browns, and now is a part of the Dog Pound. Tom Brady, oddly enough, according to our brother Jamar, was, as of yesterday, still seeking or still being considered by the Miami Dolphins. This was news. And this is after Tyreek Hill shocked the world and left Kansas City and went to the Miami Dolphins in a blockbuster deal. The Kansas City Chiefs, however, they have responded, loading up at receiver, getting Juju Smith-Schuster, putting in MVS. I can't, Bentley Scantlin, that's all I know. And I don't know his first name, but I just know he played for the Ops. I know that, right? And he played for the Ops. Now he's in good standing because he's with Kansas City. So there's a lot of big moves that took place this week in the NFL. The NCAA tournament, y'all, is now down to the Elite Eight. Shout out to Charlie Moore and the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. They have now made it to the Elite Eight, and guess what? And he did it in the Chi, bro.
Yep, he did in the Chi.
Done in the Chi. So if he can make it to the Final Four and get it done tomorrow, this is legendary status. They have been dominant their first three games. Italy, y'all. I don't know if folks watch football, but we're not talking American football. We're talking international football. Soccer. They have missed the World Cup again. And this is major because Italy has been a major player in the World Cup and, dropped out for the second time in a row. And they got me questioning, like, are they even better than us? And this is coming from an American who know that we have recently definitely struggled in football, international football, that is. And so this is a major, major deal around the world. And lastly, the NBA playoffs are quickly approaching, y'all. And my Chicago Bulls are falling. I don't know what the hell is going on. I just hope we get healthy soon. New York has now lifted its COVID-19 mandate, therefore allowing our athletes to play at home games, and that includes Kyrie Irving. While on the other hand, the Boston Celtics are beginning to look like a serious championship contender. And with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Heartbroken, man. Purdue let me down last night. That hurt.
Man, dog, I was sitting there like Purdue got a good chance and just went all downhill last night. But hey, man, shout out to that St. Peter's team, man. They coming out of nowhere, and they them some New York dudes that, that's how it be in the tournament, man. This is exactly how it be. Like, who expected St. Peter's? Who had St. Peter's even making it past the first round? Like, and now look at them. It's just college basketball, it got to be one of the hardest things to predict this tournament. It really does.
Every year.
Every year. It's just something crazy, man. Additionally, y'all, introducing our newest partner here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, and my other brother from another mother, my Morgan Park Mustang fellow, Mr. Ian Jones. Appreciate your time and thank you for chopping it up with us this morning, my brother. What's good with you?
No problem. Same old, man. Happy to be here, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your presence, my brother. And with that being said, gentlemen, let's get right into it. I got some questions for y'all. And so, Tyreek Hill, this is our first and foremost, now decided to take his talents to South Beach and join up with the Miami Dolphins. And so as a result, I'm just curious with the acquisitions recently made by this team. Are the Dolphins, y'all, are the Dolphins now a front runner for the AFC East crown? And does this make the AFC East more competitive? And so I'm going to begin with you, Jamar. Are the Dolphins now a front runner for the AFC East crown? And does this make the AFC East? Remember last week, I don't know if you remember, Ian, but me and Jamar got into a deep conversation about the AFC North being super competitive.
Didn't this happen?
Right. And of course, we know about the AFC West with all the stuff that's just happened out there. Now it seems like the AFC East, because I'm thinking of 3 teams now. And so are the Dolphins, y'all, now a front runner for the AFC East crown? And does this make the AFC East, on the other hand, more competitive?
Front runner? No. They are not. The Buffalo Bills right now, in my opinion, is the best team in the AFC. So they are not the front runner for that division. However, expectations are now in place for the Miami Dolphins. This all stemmed back from letting Brian Flores go, to bringing in a new head coach, to, the GM, verbally double down and saying Tua is our guy, to bringing in the best left tackle, Armstead, in the free agent market, to getting 2 quality running backs. That means Mal Gaskin's their third best back if we're still on the team, which those 2 running backs are Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, the fastest running back in the NFL right now. Not to mention you franchise tag Mike Gesicki. In addition, the defense has been great. You got an all-pro corner in Xavier Howard, and you bring in a 6-time Pro Bowler, Tyreek Hill, who's the fastest wide receiver in the league. So you got speed on top of speed, along with Jalen Waddle here. You're basically Tua Tagovailoa or bust.
Right, and then they got a very, very slept-on defensive line on top of having now really the best, for me, one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. It's a luxury to have Teddy Bridgewater behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so now it's basically you are Tua or bust at this point. That's exactly what you are. You got everything in place. The only question mark, maybe outside of the new head coach, is the quarterback. That's it. You insert any elite quarterback right now, that team is probably the favorite in the AFC. And it's not even close. So yeah, are they the front runner? No, but did they make the division a whole bunch? Absolutely, 100%. It's the AFC is a gauntlet right now, and I feel bad because there's gonna be 2 or 3 teams that's like really, really good that's not gonna make the playoffs at all.
Right. Yeah. And bro, your thoughts?
Tua got to get the job done. Yeah. Lamar basically hit on the head. All the acquisitions, got Armstead, like you said, the 2 running backs. You got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That I heard they're like the fastest, almost the fastest 2 duo in like almost NFL history. That's crazy. Like he got to get it done, man. It's no excuses. None at all. Running backs, working on the O-line, great tight end. Defense has been very underrated for the last couple of years. So no excuses. No excuses. None at all. None whatsoever.
So Prescott JB just joined us. Prescott JB played football with us at Morgan Park. What's up, Josh? He stated that Tua Tagovailoa, but he called him Tua turn the ball over.
I hope not.
Man, I might have to steal that. I'll give you credit for it. I might have to take that.
Mr. Tua turned the ball over is going to hold the Dolphins back so much. And so, yeah, man, Josh, it's really interesting you say that. Turning the ball over, man, I guess this would be a funny thing to see. But hey, I know this, man. When he was healthy last year, the Dolphins were a very good team. And when he was out, they pretty much were non-existent because the backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, he was very, very average, even below average. And so they lost a lot of close games to Dolphins last year. When it comes to this Dolphins team, I'm with y'all, man. The pressure's on. Shout out to the head coach for the Dolphins. I know that the guy is, he's been in the media recently, y'all, talking about his race and stuff. It's people that was trying to sham him because he's like mulatto and stuff. I'm like, come on, y'all, people was doing that. He has to produce though. You let go of Brian Flores. I just questioned Jamar, and if you have Brian Flores with this team, just let that sink in for a minute. If you have Brian Flores with this team, the expectations would definitely be there because you could see that he's a very good head coach, and he basically didn't have much of anything. And you telling me if he would have had a Tyreek Hill, a Myles Gaskin, Raheem Mostert, like this dude has been reliable like since San Francisco years ago. And tight end game. The Dolphins has always had consistent tight ends. They've always had big tight ends, big reliable tight ends. You damn near could just throw the ball up and they just go get the ball. The Dolphins has been a very solid defensive unit. Last year, guys, they had to have one of the top defenses going into the final stretch of the season last year. They were shutting people down. The only fall they really had was in Tennessee. Outside of that last stretch of the second half, the Dolphins are one of the best dominant defensive teams in the league. And so I'm just saying, with Brian Flores, if you had that, just imagine how good this team would have been. And you would have talked about Jamar, a competitive AFC East, man, they would have been running through the damn AFC. But you got a new head coach, okay? I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy. I'm just saying you let Brian Flores go, so now you got more eyes on you. It is what it is. So we'll see what the Dolphins do. If they don't do well, hey, it'll be a disappointment because you got the pieces now. And plus you're in Miami. I mean, it's Miami. So it's always a distraction. A lot of, definitely, and so hopefully they stay focused. On the other hand, let's talk about Mr. Deshaun Watson. We kind of talked about this a little bit last week, Jamar, me and you, but kind of want Ian's take. As you know, Ian, Deshaun Watson is chosen Cleveland Browns. Dominique McKinney has got on and he said, F the Dolphins. All right.
That's a Patriots fan right there.
That's right. I think he said that because he's a Patriots fan. And so I think he might be a little worried because who knows, man, Dominique McKinney, your boy, might go through a sophomore slump. And so if he goes through a sophomore slump, you're going to be really saying F the Dolphins because they could overtake you easily now because Mac Jones in the NFL, they might have figured him out now. And so, you better hope he don't go through a sophomore slump, man. On the other hand, the AFC East is low-key competitive, and I'm looking forward to that division as well. But yeah, let's get to the AFC North. Mr. Deshaun Watson, he's now part of the Dog Pound. And, the AFC North has been a pretty good division. It's been good to watch. Last year, out of nowhere, y'all, the Cincinnati Bengals came out of nowhere and went to the Super Bowl. So, just curious, does this make this team now a contender for the AFC crown? And does this make the AFC North more competitive? So, Ian, Trisha Dawson, Jamar, maybe you can jump in. But what does this do with this acquisition? And what does this do for the AFC North? What does this do for the AFC?
AFC is, like Jamar said, it's a gauntlet. I think me and Jamar talked about it briefly before he signed last week. It was a complete shocker to me. I think like me and Jamar said, I thought he was going to Atlanta. I
Yeah,
just knew
between
he was
Atlanta
going.
and
Yeah, I just
New
knew he was
Orleans.
going back home. So then for him to tell them, they were pretty much out the running. I guess Atlanta couldn't get the money right or get the contract right or whatever, and then boom, 230 million later. Like wow, and guaranteed. The Browns they've had a pretty stacked roster for like the last 3 to 4 years, talent wise, on the defensive side, on the D line, secondary, receivers. Well, before, but they got Amari Cooper now. The running backs, the O line has been stout for like the last 3 years. I feel like Baker Mayfield's been kind of holding them back, or the coaching situation's been kind of holding them back. So the North just got scary again because you got Baltimore. They had all those injuries last year, but you got those guys coming back. The Steelers are kind of up in the air. I don't know what they're gonna do. Quarterback, they've just signed Mitch Trubisky. I know they got Dwayne Haskins.
Still got a Mike Tomlin coach team.
Yeah, and that defense is scary.
They got some names on that defense for sure.
Yeah, defense is scary. So it's gonna be tough. The AFC, pretty much every division in the AFC is probably gonna be tough, probably except the South, mate.
Right. The weakest is the South.
Yeah.
The weakest division in the AFC now is the AFC South, but you still got Tennessee and Mr. King Henry up in that division.
Yeah, now you got Indianapolis with Matt Ryan and Jonathan Taylor, and they might be a sleeper to get Julio, so.
They're a little bit of a sleeper too. They're a little bit of a sleeper, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, bro.
They threw a lot of money around. They might get it together.
Jaguars, boy.
They might get it. They might be a sleeper.
The troll is real right now.
Hey, man, you got them Jacksonville Jaguars and them Texans lurking too, boy.
Not the Texans. I can't ride with you, the Texans.
It's a no lag zone in the AFC, boy.
But somebody every year, whether it's in the NFC or the AFC, somebody's going to be the sleeper. Everybody can't be good, so somebody's going to be the sleeper. Somebody's going to have injuries, so it's going to be a sleeper.
Absolute sure, man. For absolute sure. I'm just looking at the West. I'm looking at the North. I'm looking at the East, and I'm saying, wow, okay. And then you got two pretty decent teams in the AFC South too. So how many playoff spots we got, y'all? We got 7 playoff spots, right?
7 now, yeah.
So 12, 14. So that means 7 good teams, y'all, might not make the playoffs.
Yeah, at least 4.
Six good teams that's not gonna make it. Because
Yeah.
we are not counting the Jets, we're not counting the Texans, and we're not counting those Jags that you just ramped up for the last 30 seconds. We're not counting those 3.
Yeah, thank you for that, math. That's right. Let's dismiss the Jets. But outside of that, yes. Well, you know what? No, man, because you got legitly outside of the Jets, that's 11. And then the other 2, that's 13. And then we got 7 spots. Yes. So it's going to be 6 decent teams, y'all, that's going to be like, damn. But if I'm Monday Night Football, if I'm Sunday Night Football, I'm scrambling. And I'm like, who the hell do I put here? Like,
Yep.
like these are all good teams.
At least the first, month of Monday Night Football should be all AFC West matchups. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You can the AFC North, the AFC.
That division is crazy.
I tell you, man, Dominic McKinney states the Jags might be a playoff team now. I know he's joking, but hey, man, anything's possible, right, Dominique? Like, who expected the Cincinnati Bengals to come out of nowhere? Who knows? Trevor Lawrence might come back and, be like, hey, he's developed now. And so, if Trevor Lawrence is developed, that makes things more interesting. And so, on the other hand, Jamar, yes, we broke down the AFC East, AFC North. Let's talk about Tom Brady. So I just want to know, are those conversations between Tom Brady and the Miami Dolphins really serious? Like how serious are they?
I think it's just a lot more smoke than actual fire here on this one. I know, we know for a fact that Miami, was been trying to get Tom Brady, at least a couple of years ago before he went to Tampa. And I think rumor was it that, when him retired, they were trying to pry him out of retirement to get there. So that's when, Bruce Arians came out and said, like, you're going to have to basically come up with a king's ransom to trade for him type deal. So it's definitely a lot more, smoke than fire, but sometimes you never know. But honestly, at this point, I don't think it's happening.
Right. On the other hand, so we see that Matt Ryan went to the Colts, makes the Colts, in my opinion, a very good team. Because I don't forget about the numbers he's put up. He puts up numbers, y'all. That's one thing Matt Ryan does. Now he's with a new team, a new regime, a really good head coach. Who knows what he can do in Indy end. So it's very interesting on that. Dominique McKinney said, Buck said, hell no. And then Prescott JB stated, why on earth would Tom Brady leave the weak NFC South for the powerful AFC East? It's a good point. Yeah. Tom Brady and the Dolphins, it is interesting. I mean, I know if you want to go there, it would be in because of Miami. You just want to go to some damn Miami. But I know the rumblings were going on, so I just wanted to address that. An additional rumbling, Jamar. Did you have anything else to say about that, or can we move on?
No, we can keep it going.
Okay, so let's talk about y'all Baker, Mr. Baker Mayfield, Dominique McKinney's favorite quarterback. And so, with Mr. Baker Mayfield, he right now is pissed off at Cleveland. Obviously because, what has happened with Deshaun Watson. And it was somebody that posted on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast page. Y'all know the commercial, the insurance commercial with Progressive where he been walking around the stadium and he'll be like cleaning up one day in the stadium and then he'll be showing people around. It was a picture they posted. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. And it was Baker Mayfield, and then it was a guy next to him, and they put the Deshaun Watson head on top of him. And they basically had him showing him around the stadium. And it was just so disrespectful. Whoever did that was wrong. And on the other hand, you got Baker Mayfield ticked off, right? And so I'm just curious, Jamar, what's the word with Baker Mayfield, and what team is he considering going to the NFC now, or what's the scenario with him?
All right, so with Baker, it's for one, he doesn't hold. I feel like he doesn't have really too much leverage here, so it kind of like limits things for him. So based on how this, quarterback carousel has been going, it's basically, down to a couple of teams. One of the teams that we thought maybe one of them basically said we're good is the Carolina Panthers. So that's kind of out the window. The only other team that might trade for him at this point is the Seattle Seahawks, but that's up in the air. It's just more so like teams, I mean, they're interested, but they don't want to trade for him. They rather for him to get cut. And then, they can get him from cheap because I think 18 or 19 mil.
18 million, yeah.
Yeah, that just to be somebody that's competing for a job, not even, necessarily, solidified as the starter, like that's a lot of money. And, with him having his it's like his scenario is like being a antagonist to a Disney Channel movie, the way he was in his feelings and stuff. So he didn't help himself one bit whatsoever. So I don't know what to tell you, but Baker's not in good shape right now.
Yeah, man. I don't know if y'all been watching, man, but he been tearing up Twitter lately.
so emotional, man.
He's been pissed off, man. And so if you want some fun to watch, go to his Twitter and you'll see a lot of fun stuff on there. dissing the NFL, dissing everybody. I'm like, damn, Baker, like, you just mad at everybody now. I mean, Baker thought he was that dude. Like, Jamar, come on, man. Like, just 2 years ago, bro, he led them to the AFC divisional round. You were up against Kansas City. You surprised people. You beat, Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh.
Beat him down.
Like, this was a great playoff win, right? And no, it wasn't. But on the other hand, with all that being said, Baker Mayfield felt like he's a very arrogant person, y'all, as y'all know. He's very nonchalant. And this is sort of like his brand, right, y'all? Like, I think he got that Progressive commercial because of just kind of him being this, person that he is in public. And so he kind of built that as a brand. But, even amongst his brand, it's just not maxing out on the field, y'all. And so there's an imbalance here. And so, but Baker doesn't want to acknowledge that, y'all. It's sort of like people seeing the truth, but him like, being in denial. That's how I feel about Baker, y'all. And so, wow, the Seattle Seahawks. That's it. Not the Texans, not the Lions.
I mean, look at it like this. If Houston wanted him, they would have included him in that trade.
Yeah.
They didn't. They ride or die with Davis Mills right now.
So look, Jamar, you telling me that Baker Mayfield's so bad that the Detroit Lions don't want him?
I wouldn't say he's so bad, but like Jamar said, I don't think nobody wants to pay him 19 million that he's owed. They rather, get him for cheap. And it's not really a lot of places to go. I mean, everybody's kind of, I feel like the teams that need a quarterback that haven't, reached out to them, I feel like they're just going to draft a quarterback. Like you got Carolina, they said they was going to pass. They up in the air. I'm hearing they might bring Cam back, and I don't know what Sam Donald's going to do. But I think they're going to draft a quarterback. I think Pittsburgh's going to draft a quarterback. The Texans, I think the Texans might even draft a quarterback, but they said they happy with Davis Mills. So it's not really. He's kind of like in the situation Cam Newton was a couple years ago. It's not really a lot of places to go. Everybody pretty much got a quarterback, and either they got a young quarterback or they got a veteran quarterback, and they have backups too. So, I mean, Seattle will probably most likely be the fit, but I know Seattle's not going to trade for him. They're not going to pay him that 19 million.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's cheap.
Yeah, of course he is. I mean, look what I mean. Everybody's gone because they didn't want to get paid.
He'll come off that bread, not easy.
I mean, Baker might have to do the Trubisky approach. Go somewhere, chill out for a year. Somehow, some ways, Trubisky's stock rose. But the one thing that didn't help, like Brandon, you mentioned that last season, like went to the playoffs, beat down the Steelers in the first round. That was like basically Cleveland saying like, we out of the shadow, like we are here. We went toe-to-toe with Kansas City. That game was crazy for a second. But it's like he did all that without Odell Beckham Jr. As soon as Odell comes back, whole dynamic change, and then that whole fallout definitely did not help. And the fact that OBJ won and Baker's out here just looking like, chopped liver, it just didn't, the whole dynamic, the optics did not go well for him whatsoever.
We will see, y'all, how this situation with Baker Mayfield turns out. We haven't got into training camp yet. People haven't started working out, things of that nature. So we'll see, man, if it lasts throughout the entire, let's say, off season up until training camp and all that stuff starts. But I can just imagine it won't be a nice locker room if you got Deshaun Watson and then Baker Mayfield behind him. I feel like Baker Mayfield on purpose show him the wrong locker room. Like why would you do that, Baker? Why would you do that? Like, I feel like
he won't be there at all.
I feel like if he's there, he'll show him the janitor room or something, be like, here's your locker room or something. Like, you'd be like, why would you do that, Baker? Like, I just feel like he'll do that,
He's currently QB3 on that roster. They probably pay him to stay home if he's still around.
Wow.
So who's number 2?
Who they? Was it Brissett that they signed?
Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah, I think so.
Might be. Yeah, you're right. Yep, because there was a black quarterback. I know that, and so yeah, it's Brissett. Yeah, and so yep. All right. That is the situation with Baker Mayfield, y'all, and that's our covering for the NFL this morning. On the other hand, y'all, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. And so, how about Charlie Moore, Mr. Morgan Park and Jones, Mr. Chicago, Mr. Southside, led us to two state championships, and now leading the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. This is his first run in the NCAA tournament. It should have been more, but he played at some small schools, DePaul as example. You know, but now that he's in this moment, he's like showing us who he really is. And so, just curious, man, like, what's your thoughts on this? Are you proud? Like, what's your emotions with this current run?
It's pretty. I would say I'm proud. You know, nobody. I mean, with them being a 10th seed, nobody seen them coming this far to the Elite Eight. So that's pretty good, man. It'll, like you said, it'll be a pretty dope story. He gets all the way to the Final Four, even possibly winning. It'll be tough. You know, they got Kansas next, so that's gonna be a tough one. But I mean, they've been showing up.
Right. Yes, sir. A team I want to shout out is the North Carolina Tar Heels. Jamar, you talked about this team last week. You say that this team was dangerous, and the Roy Williams led North Carolina Tar Heels took out UCLA. And I don't know how many people realize that that is a very good win. That is a very tough win. UCLA is a very good basketball team, and they handled them yesterday. And so yeah, and right now, I don't know, man, who's playing the best basketball? Is it Kansas? Is it St. Peter's? St. Peter's, man, took out Purdue, and Purdue, Jamar, was your national championship pick, and little St. Peter's from New York. What are you turning your head for, Jamar? It's all right, man. Look, I got my bracket busted too.
None of my Final Four teams ain't in no more.
Me neither. I'm pissed off. Like, you know, it's literally to the point to where I started to do the 16 teams. I'm like, let me just start a new bracket.
Let me start over.
But I'm like, you know, I'm not even gonna do it. I'm like, I'm gonna just, you know, man up and just take my losses here. And so, yeah, Purdue, man, they lost to St. Peter's, and Purdue is very talented. Yeah. How did St. Peter's beat Purdue, y'all? Like, I'm watching this game, and I'm just like, Purdue will have good pros.
Yeah.
They'll have good NBA guys, but it always seemed like sometimes in college, y'all, like these guys that be these super talented guys, Jamar, they get to the tournament and, you know, they just run up against some Cinderella team that's throwing up 3-pointers from out of nowhere and
get out coached.
Yeah, them 3-pointers just be dropping and them palms get sweaty, all that stuff. So yeah, man. Jamar, just curious, what are your thoughts on Purdue, man? Are you happy? Are you sad? Like, what happened to the Purdue Boilermakers, man? Like, how did we, as fellow Purdue people, how did we lose to St. Peter's?
Yeah, I feel like I got Drake's album playing in the background. That's how emotional I am right now about how they lost, right? Nah, they didn't come to play. I watched that game from start to finish. They did not come to play. Jaden Ivey, who's supposed to be a top 5 pick in this draft, like, where are you? You did not show up whatsoever. Like, this man out here airballing and turning the ball over. Like, you are easily the most talented and the most dominant player on this court, and you is nowhere to be found. Dude, the 7'4" tree out there, Edey, man, like, he was non-existent. Like, how are you, like, you are head and shoulders taller than everybody else out there. Can't even, like, put the ball in the basket. Williams, the backup, he was the only one that was doing something for Purdue. Everybody else was, you know, just, like, they were just not composed. Like this team from Jersey, this team with a whole bunch of Brooklyn and Bronx and 5 borough ballers out here just came. They like you all said earlier, they're not scared. I mean,
Right.
I think the coach said it best. Like, these kids are from the Bronx. Like, we're not scared of anything. And it showed. They just kept fighting and fighting. I'm sitting here like, the way this momentum's going, like, Purdue's about to lose. And then, you know, when you have teams, when you have underdogs that stick around late into the game, at that point, you know, the favorite, all the pressure's on the favorite, and then, you know, eventually starts to crumble, foundation goes down, and there you have it.
So yeah, start to drop heavy, man. You're right. That's one way you got to beat a St. Peter's. You got to dominate them early. Yes. And you can see St. Peter's is in control of the game from the start.
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh. I done seen this story before watching sports. This ain't too good for Purdue. Judging their recent tournament history, they tend to choke.
Dude.
I'm like, this could be a very dangerous outcome.
And I saw a Facebook status last night that is about sums it all up. As good as teams that Purdue can put out there, they said it seemed like it's more likely a Purdue grad is more likely to be an astronaut with NASA than Purdue making the Final Four. That's what it seems like.
Wow.
Factual stuff, man. This is factual stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. We had a great run with Carson Edwards. Remember that run, Jamar? Mm-hmm. That run was...
It was magical. But it's like, but this team here, it's head and shoulders better than that team. This is the best team that I've witnessed with my own eyes and still can't even get to the Final Four. So what else can they do? I don't know.
I know, man. Matt Payne is just like, damn, like we had this game. We blew it again. But you know, hey, it's what it is, man. Tournament times, palms get sweaty. I want to shout out a few coaches here, man. I already shouted out Charlie Moore. I want to shout out the head coach for St. Peter's, who is a brother. I want to shout out Houston head coach Ralph Sampson, who was a brother. He is a fantastic, legendary coach. He made the Final Four last year. So this ain't nothing new for him. Now they're in the Elite Eight. And Houston will be playing, I believe today. Houston will be playing today against Villanova.
Yep.
And shout out y'all lastly to the Duke Blue Devils. Hey, Coach K, y'all are still in the running for a Cinderella championship. Okay? He got 3 more wins and he can go out on top. And this would just totally solidify an illustrious career of another Chicago guy, Mike Krzyzewski.
Wouldn't it be crazy if Duke and North Carolina play in the Final Four? They just, both of them just one win away for it happening.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like, but I don't think they'll play each other, Jamar.
They would.
I gotta look. They would?
Yep. Okay. They both win this weekend. They play each other in the final.
Yep. And then the Miami, Florida, Kansas, and Houston, Villanova winner were playing the other Final Four, right?
Correct. Okay,
great. And so, yes, that would be fantastic to watch. Duke could possibly get revenge from the blowout that they encountered at home in his final home game.
Yeah.
I remember that blowout. I'm like, wow. And Duke was not playing good going into the tournament. They were very, very bad going into the tournament. You know, but they got it together at the right time. Houston, very dangerous team, man. You know, here Villanova is low key. Nobody's talking about Villanova, y'all. Nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
That is the best free throw shooting team in the country. You cannot overlook that.
Didn't they just win a national championship not too long ago, right? You know, like, didn't they just recently, you know, give us some of the greatest moments ever with buzzer beaters in a national championship game? Like,
2016, yep.
Against
let's not forget
North Carolina.
Right. You know, like, let's not forget about Villanova here, man. And Arkansas, they took out my national champion. They literally did what I thought, Jamar, Memphis would do, which Memphis did the first half and a little bit for the second half. They got under them. And you know, on defense, right? When you get under a person, under them, so under them to where it's hard for them to move.
Mhm.
Smothering.
They got under them. They were physical. Jamar, they beat them to the boards. They boxed out. They did all the basic things. They played some really good Southern hardcore basketball, and they really showed up Gonzaga and made them look real soft out there.
Yeah.
They made them look legitly soft out there. And here again, once again, I hate to compare Gonzaga to Purdue, y'all, but in a way, when it comes to tournament time, they just come up short.
Every year,
Still.
never fail.
I mean, at least they've been to a Final Four national championship game last year. At least they
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
that.
Is a very, very common situation for Gonzaga. And so, hey, at least they got some pros, you know, Chet Holmgren. Just curious, y'all, what do you do with Chet Holmgren? Do he go to the NBA because of his potential, or do you keep him for another year and let him beef up? Because he's too skinny.
I mean,
And
He stinks. He's gonna
He
get
is
pushed
thick.
around in the NBA. Real bad.
he does need to get in the weight room, but I mean that'll come. But I mean, he projected what top 3 pick. I mean, I don't even think it's a question.
yeah, you go. I mean, Kevin Durant was really skinny, and Kevin Durant's still skinny, and Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Not saying
But he don't-
he is
but he
Kevin
don't
Yeah,
play
right.
like
Not saying that
KD
he Kevin
though.
Durant.
He don't play like KD. I know, I get y'all point, but he don't play like KD. He not a sniper
don't-
like KD.
I mean,
He can
he
barely
don't-
shoot the damn 3-ball, and that's in college.
I mean, honestly, he don't have to be. His skill set is like, from what I'm told, it's like it's hard for like I guess NBA scouts to really like grade him because his skill set is really, really unique in a sense. I mean, in this day and age in the NBA, I think he'll be fine. It's not like it was 10, 15 years ago. If he was that skinny, he'd get crushed.
Yeah.
And
I
this
think,
and
he,
this
I
soft
think he's
athletic
still gonna
fast
get
league.
crushed. I can imagine
know.
him even going up against a Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba gonna dunk all on him. I can imagine him going up against like these African kids that come from Africa that go to college in the NBA. That's physical. That's on the boards. That's the only hope he got. But that's who he gonna be facing up against when he go to the league.
Maybe, but like Ian said, top 3 projected pick is like I'll take that risk. If I was him, I'll take that risk. Like I'm gonna get paid.
Hell no. Plus, judging Gonzaga's history of NBA talent. Don't make
No,
me
Yeah,
bring
they-
up
I mean,
Adam Morrison.
if that's the case, for
Make
one,
me
he should
bring
never
up
went
Adam
there.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Y'all remember Adam Morrison
A dog. He was a dog in college.
in
man.
college?
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
You got to the NBA, it was like, what the hell happened?
Because he had
And
that mullet.
You know, like, say it again, Jamar.
Because he had that mullet going on. That's why.
Drew Timmy, man, he better watch out too, because coming from Gonzaga, it ain't much good history.
I have no expectations for Timmy in the league.
Right.
None.
So, but on the other hand, they do got a young guy, a guard or something. I believe he'll be good. And Jalen Suggs is turning out to be pretty good too. I don't want to compare race here, but sort of like the guys from Gonzaga, they are a bit soft. They are. And so when it comes to the league, they just don't really do that well because they get pushed around a lot. And so that's why I'm saying, y'all, Chet Holmgren, he got potential. So I guess you draft him, like y'all say, off the potential, but he gonna have to develop that burner because even with his height, his guys is gonna be just as tall that can jump just as high.
Mhm.
I think he'll be all right. In 2022, he'll be all right. This was 2012. I don't think so. 2022. I think he'll be fine. I do.
No, I mean, I don't blame you, man. You got a guy that height, that freakish ability. You kind of want him on your team. Like he'll disrupt some things, definitely, and play a big role. So, very interesting, very, very interesting. We'll be looking forward to talking about that more, y'all, as the NBA draft approach and things like that in the offseason. On the other hand, let's talk about the NBA, y'all, because the playoffs are approaching. And so the Brooklyn Nets, y'all, are obviously a great team with Kyrie Irving on the floor. Although at times they do come up short. Like I saw them, they look really scary, y'all, in the third quarter up in Memphis. But Memphis just bullied them in a way. And The one thing I see with the Nets, Ian and Jamar, is they are really top heavy, which means that it's pretty much Kyrie and it's pretty much KD. And outside of that, nobody else really ain't contributing. Maybe it'll change in the playoffs, but right now they're not looking so hot. But Kyrie Irving is, now a part of this COVID-19 New York mandate that has been lifted, and non-vaccinated athletes are able to play at home this season. And so does this now make the Brooklyn Nets your championship favorite? Because now you got Kyrie Irving for the entire playoffs and not just part-time. And so, Ian, what are your thoughts, bro?
Favorite, I wouldn't say favorite, but definitely a contender. If I'm the Heat and if Brooklyn end up getting the 8th seed or the 7th seed, if I'm number 1 and number 2 in the East, I might want to lose a couple games because I don't want to see them in the first round.
I'm sweating palms if
and I think Brooklyn problem is they've been hurt. Kyrie he's been there a third of the season, so I think it's gonna take them some time to gel. They just got Steph Curry and a couple other pickups, so I think it's gonna take maybe like a couple more games for them to gel just a little bit, but I want to see them in the playoffs. Kevin Durant and Kyrie, I want to see them in the playoffs.
I definitely don't want to see them in the playoffs, not in the first round especially. If I'm the Heat and I'm playing them the first round, I'm like, damn, it's going to be a tough playoff.
Yeah, 7 games for sure. And it might not even, the way if Brooklyn play like they're supposed to play, it might not even be 7. They could possibly get the Heat out of there in 6 games. So I don't want to play them in the first round. That's just me.
That's possible. That's very possible. So, Jamar, what's your thoughts, bro?
I think they could be pretty close to being the favorites. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure you do not want to play them whatsoever, just like y'all said. I'm pretty sure Miami don't want to see them in a 7-game series. Like basically what Ian said on that one. They could be out in 5, they could be out in 6. It just think about it. Like, you have to, if you're an opponent, like I have to beat Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving 4 out of 7. 4 out of 7. Like, that's not an easy task to do. The only 2 teams that I think that's may not be scared, and rightfully so, are the Milwaukee Bucks, because they are defending champions. And granted, yeah, they beat them with Kevin Durant's toe on the line and everybody else, but it's just they already have that confidence over them in that aspect. And the Boston Celtics, who are on fire right now. Yeah. And crazy thing about it, Boston is just 1 game out of first place in the East. So you could see Boston and Brooklyn in the first round. And that'd be a sight to see. Yeah. But nevertheless, like Kyrie at full time, who probably is the freshest NBA player right now in the league that still has all his legs and probably will have all his legs throughout the whole playoff run. As long as he stay healthy, that team will figure it out. That team will get better as the playoff progresses. Mm-hmm. I know Ben Simmons is probably not coming back with this herniated disc or whatever is going on there, but
Pat McAfee reported that Ben Simmons is expected to play this season. I literally was just looking it up right now. And Pat McAfee, he stated that he's expected to come back and play this year. So if he comes back, this adds a whole different dynamic defensively.
That's ball game. If he comes back, that's ball game. And I'm saying it here now. If he comes back and is actually healthy and plays with a little confidence there, it's ball game. Because at that point, for one, he's taking the pressure off their defense because he's guarding the best player. For 2, he's getting everybody open and facilitating. You cannot double team these top 2 scorers. The lane gonna open wide open. The dunker spot gonna be there. Steph Curry is going to be a lot more valuable. It's curtains. It's curtains.
You look at the shooters, and this is one thing about the Nets that makes them dangerous. You mentioned Steph Curry. So if Steph Curry just sitting there, right, y'all? Steph Curry just chilling out, nobody able to guard him because you got to worry about KD and Kyrie. But then you got Ben Simmons who's doing what he does offensively, and he now has open lanes to dish to Andre Drummond. He has open lanes to dish to Blake Griffin. He has open lanes to take the ball to the rack himself. Let's not forget about another valuable piece, y'all. Patty Mills.
Yeah.
Patty Mills has been one of the top shooters in the NBA for quite some time. And you got to worry about leaving him open now. And that's a lot to leave open. On the other hand, let's not forget about a guy that's a very good ball player, Goran Dragic, right? And so Goran Dragic has been a fantastic basketball player, and you got to leave him open. And so it is very, very interesting if he comes back. It's a lot of buckets. And they like this Kessler Edwards kid. I know that. They like this Kessler Edwards kid. He can score the ball. He's not afraid to score the ball. And so I've been watching him score a lot as well. And so I'm very interested in seeing how the Nets look, y'all, in the playoffs. And regardless of whoever they play in the first round, they definitely will be very, very nervous because, even with or without Ben Simmons, I think this team can make the finals, with or without. Don't even matter.
Yeah.
But with Ben Simmons, I think they can win it all. Without him, they can make the finals. That's how good they are, because when the playoffs come, KD will step it up. He will step it up. He'll turn into a whole different person. You think you're seeing something now. Wait till the playoffs come.
I would say the only question mark I have with them that's been kind of a chronic issue is defending. They have not shown to be the best defensive team. It's like you mentioned Memphis beating them. It's like, how do you lose to Memphis without that? Yeah. It's like, that's inexcusable, especially with a team of their caliber. So that's my only concern. But if Ben Simmons comes back, then it kind of helps that out a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah. So big eyes on Brooklyn. Kyrie, y'all, returns Sunday. FYI, everybody, he returns Sunday night. And so it'll be big eyes on Brooklyn. The Boston Celtics, y'all, they are clamoring teams defensively. They are the best team defensively in the league now. They're on a hot winning streak. They're climbing the charts within the Eastern Conference. And for some, are looking like the team to beat in the NBA. And so just curious, fellas, do you agree that this team can win an NBA championship this season? I don't think so. I don't get me wrong. I think Boston's great. They kind of remind me of Purdue, y'all. Like, great in the regular season, but they just kind of always come up short in the.
Use another analogy.
they kind of remind me of Purdue. They kind of remind me of Gonzaga.
He does it again.
Like Purdue and Gonzaga, like just coming up short. Like, geez, like I think they're a great regular season team, y'all. But I don't know do I trust Marcus Smart to win a championship? Do I even trust them to get through the East? I think they'll be tough.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they can make the conference finals, y'all.
Yeah.
It just depends on if they play Brooklyn. But, if they can avoid Brooklyn, right, Jamar, if they can avoid Brooklyn, I think the Celtics can make the conference finals. They just have to avoid Brooklyn.
They're young, but they have experience at the same time.
They do. And Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum are all experienced.
Yeah.
And let's not even forget that point guard, White, who came from San Antonio with Greg Popovich. Of course, he going to play defense. He going to be experienced. He going to make the right decisions. He come from Greg Popovich. Since he's gotten there, they've been like lights out defensively. I mean, it's been ridiculous. They've been just clamoring teams. They blew somebody out by 34 the other day.
Yeah, they've been red hot. Probably the hottest team in basketball right now.
Yeah.
It's like with them, like, they are playing exceptionally well. But part of me feels like we are like giving them like too much credit here. And that's because of how, underwhelming they started, how, they, under exceed expectations earlier on. It's like, this is the same Boston Celtics team that what was it, 2 or 3 years removed, Eastern Conference Finals, like this team that we had a lot of expectations for.
Multiple years back to back, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, they started, underachieving, and to the point that we was talking about them breaking up the roster, and is Jason Tatum really a superstar? Can they coexist? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this team is like the best team in basketball, and this team, going to the final. That's all the stuff I'm hearing. It's like, so what is it with this team? Like, what are you really? Like, I'm sick of it. That's just me. And I know they're playing exceptionally well, but what are you? Are you like a real threat? Is this your real self? Or are you just, living a high wave right now? Like, I don't know who you really are. I don't. And I don't. I'm gonna just leave it at that. It's like, I don't know. I don't.
Well, I tell you what, I know one thing about Boston, Jamar. And I'm basing it off of their recent experience. They've been in the conference finals, not 3 years, but remember 2 years ago. If we count the bubble, remember they went to the conference finals against Miami.
Yeah.
I expected them. I remember I picked them, Jamar, to go to the finals that year. I picked them to beat whomever and to go to the to the NBA finals, Boston. They went to the conference finals. Before that, y'all remember the battles with LeBron? Like,
Boston.
Yeah, like Boston has had success for years with Al Horford on that team. They've been to the conference finals, and they, have had success. That's why I can see them making the conference finals, but I don't know if I can see them being able to win a championship. Because I feel like if you really, really key in on either one of them, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, and you take one of them out at least, then I don't know if the Celtics overall as a team have the firepower to, get it done. But on the other hand, I want to give a special shout out to Ime Udoka. Go ahead, Jamar.
So, like, my question is, like, early on in the year, and this is kind of what Dominique kind of alluded to just now. He says chemistry would be the Celtics' downfall, and what I'm going with this is, so Jason Tatum, would jack up all these shots and was missing, and it was just out of sorts. And you had Marcus Smart in the media talking about basically pass the ball type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's when the game slows down in the playoffs, because it normally does, is Jason Tatum going to be jacking up all the shots? What happens if he has a couple bad games in a row? Does it just all fall apart? I mean, honestly, I get they got all this experience in the world, but they also made all these different moves in the world too. And if you still at the same spot, it's like, you make all these moves and you still find out that your ceiling is still the same. It's like, what are we doing here?
All right, but Jamar, let me ask you a question, bro. If the Boston Celtics, and I ask you guys this as well for the 5 people that's rocking with us this morning. If the Boston Celtics play, I don't know, if they play the Bucks, do you think they beat them in a series? Who wins that series?
Bucks.
Milwaukee.
It'll be a tough series.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If they play Brooklyn, who win that series?
I'm taking the best player on the planet. I got to.
Yeah.
Okay. But if they play anybody else in the East, they play the Bulls, who win?
The Bulls. But seriously, I mean, they can get the Bulls. They can get the Bulls problems. The Bulls.
I mean, yeah. What Ian said. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They can get the Bulls. Pretty much anybody else problem, but those two teams, I don't know. They will have to show improve, like Jamar said. They've been doing this for about the last 4 or 5 years.
Right. I know it's the regular season, but lately they've been beating up on the Bucks and the Nets. I'm just saying. And so I'm agreeing with y'all. I don't know if they beat Brooklyn, but I don't know if they can't beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee has been great. They have with Giannis. But Milwaukee, man, I don't know what the hell is going on with them. They've been dropping a lot of games. And I'm just sitting here like, if they run up against a tough defensive-minded team with this Williams guy who can defend Giannis, y'all. Giannis is just as athletic as this Williams guy. I forgot his name. We've been talking about him, Jamar. Like he's developing, like over the years. I think he's developed now.
I feel like isn't Boston like basically everybody fully healthy and then just rolling on all cylinders right now? And I feel like everybody else is like kind of injured and low, managing their way to the playoffs right now, just getting ready for the playoffs. I feel like maybe Boston's peaking at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I can feel that. Boston's peaking at the wrong time, and the Bulls, they'll be peaking at the right time. The Hornets will be peaking at the right time. The Atlanta Hawks, no. I'm just trying to think of teams, y'all, that could potentially be dangerous. Outside of Miami, outside of Brooklyn and maybe Milwaukee. I feel like if Boston play in Miami, I feel like they'll out tough in Miami too. That'd be a really good series.
Depending on what Miami team you get, they could. I wouldn't put it past them.
Miami, right. You're right, Jamal. I mean, you're right. And like Miami could go to the NBA Finals, or Miami could get put out in the first round.
Yep. I definitely agree.
Yeah, one of those teams. And so it just depends on who they play. But once again, I've been saying this, y'all. We talking about the AFC and the football. I'm very excited for the Eastern Conference playoffs because, Jamar, your point is very well taken that if Boston is peaking at the wrong time, then I can't wait to see the other teams peaking at the right time, which would then make the Eastern Conference playoffs pretty competitive. I really can't wait to see my Bulls healthy. I can't wait to see Patrick Williams on the court. He's going to make such a huge difference. And if we can get Lonzo Ball back, this will make such a huge difference for us, tremendously.
That's what I'm waiting for. Like, I can't even fully judge our team because we're not fully healthy. I can't. I know, we definitely been on the wrong side of games lately, but I just can't fully judge us. Is it alarming? A little bit, but I just know when the playoffs come, I feel like, it's a different animal. We have players that have played in big games. We got a couple of champions on the team. I mean, I think we'll be fine. I just want our team to be fully healthy at that point. Yeah, that is all.
Yes. And so just curious, and with the Bulls, are you worried about us right now? Because we have dropped significantly. Let me go to the conference standings, man.
I'm worried about where they'll eventually end up. Because like you said, they have been dropping games, but like Jamar stated too, we've been hurt, and we haven't really had our full team all year. That's been a story since game one. Patrick Williams, he's been injured. He's just not coming back. He's been hurt. We've had Levine out here and there. We had DeMar. He had COVID earlier. He was out the other day. So I don't know. They've been dropping games at the wrong time. I mean, and if the playoffs started today, we would play Boston.
And I'm not confident in that series if we were to play them.
Yeah, I mean, without everybody healthy, we would play Boston, and it's not that much time left. I mean, unless Boston, drops a couple games, that's the series. I mean, that's what it's looking like. But I mean, even so, that's probably who we'll probably see in the first round. I mean, if things keep going the way they go, not unless
the way it's looking in. Look at these standings, bro. Boston is a game out of first place.
Right.
And so
not unless we drop to 6 and end up having to play the Bucks or the Sixers, because we can't beat the Sixers to save our life.
For some reason, they just got our number.
I mean, the Bucks too. The Bucks. I mean, all the top teams. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. We haven't beaten any tough teams this year. And so, yeah, man, the Bulls could easily drop to 7. Y'all look like by tomorrow. And so, you know, it's looking dim. But, you know, as Jamar stated, we can't really judge this team because we have been injured. We are a talented team. We know that. We know we can put up points. Chris Ford get on here. He ain't got nothing to do with his morning. He get on here this morning trying to talk about the White Sox first and foremost, Jamar, and then say first round exit, LOL. Chris Ford, you need a life, man. I don't know if you don't have nothing to do this morning, but you gotta be careful talking about our Bulls. Prescott JB stated the Bulls are going to get boat raced. The Bulls are going to get boat raced by everybody until we are 100% healthy. Chris Ford get on here, first round exit, White Sox style.
Don't mind Chris Ford. He's a Thunder fan, man. He's a Thunder fan. Don't mind Chris Ford.
Yeah, but Chris, he trying to remind us, Jamar, the first round exit from the White Sox, which you did predict correct, Chris Ford. They did get trounced in the first round really bad last year. I remember that.
I mean,
Dominic
what?
McKinney, go ahead, Jamar.
I was gonna say, what AAA game did the Cubs play in last year in the playoffs?
Yeah, so let's see if Chris got a clap back. But on the other hand, Dominic McKinney stated that the Bulls are a big man away from going deep in the playoffs. I totally agree, Dominic. Nicola's a bit soft down there. He get pushed around a lot. So when you talk about, and we can't beat Philly, you know why we can't?
One of the main reasons, yeah.
Joel Embiid is feasting on Nikola, putting up 50, 60. Like, he's had career highs against us in his career. I remember last year, he scored like 50, 60 points on us last year. This year, 30, 40, easily, no problem. Like, yeah. Like,
I mean, even when we play the Bucks, Giannis too, he's no force down there. I mean, I know that's why they went and picked up Tristan Thompson, but I mean, he's not the starter, so he's not going to be out there for majority of the time. He's going to be our downfall in the playoffs. Because like Jamar said, the game's going to slow down. He's going to be our downfall. I mean, the East is kind of big man heavy at the top. You got Giannis. You got Giannis and B. You got Bam. Yeah, man. Even in Cleveland, you know, Cleveland is, you know, they got the twin towers over there.
Mobley and Allen.
Yeah, yep, Mobley. Yeah, he's nice. That kid's nice. Yeah, Cleveland's nice too, man. That's true. And so, if I was the Bulls, y'all, I would hope for the 3 seed. I would hope that we could get hot and get in the 3 seed this summer. We can play Cleveland. Because outside of Cleveland or Toronto, I'm worried.
Yeah, Boston will have to drop some games for sure for them to get in that.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to analyze, y'all, like, where could we go in order to make the second round? It would either have to be between Cleveland or Toronto. If we play anybody else, I'm worried. But, you know, we'll have a fighter's chance if we're fully healthy. If we got Patrick Williams on the court, I think we got a fighter's chance because we got some height, we got a score, we got some length, somebody that can literally defend that other player's best player, that other team's best player. Patrick can defend. Now, I believe, Jamar, Patrick can defend KD. I believe he can defend Jason. I know he'll probably put the clamps on Tatum. He'll put the clamps on Brown. Yeah, I think he can shut Tatum down. Yeah. Williams is elite, man. People sleep on this boy. This boy,
yeah, I mean,
he developed, man. He gonna be some.
I don't know about Tatum and KD. I'll give you Jaylen Brown, but
I'd rather put Caruso on Brown.
Yeah. I mean, then we got Lonzo coming back, which would be good. That's a lot of length, you know, saying for defense for us. So we just got to get healthy and I'm trying to find a way to get some games.
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell y'all, Patrick Williams can defend Brown. He can defend a point guard. He can defend a shooting guard. He can defend a small forward. He can even defend some power forwards. And Jamar, you've raved about this guy. I don't know what you're yawning for. You've raved about him.
I would not.
You excited that we drafted him.
No, I am. No, I wasn't yawning because of that.
And so just making a point, y'all, that when it comes to this guy, please watch his development.
Yeah.
If this guy continue to develop, he's going to be a serious problem, and the Bulls will be a serious problem because he has the effect to change your entire game with his abilities. He just do. And so, yes.
So real quick from the comments, Chris Ford said, "Yo, we traded away the whole team and still didn't come in last place in the division, had a winning record the last 2 months of the season. You want a cookie for your AAA team?" He said, "I want to believe in the Bulls, but I just can't." Dominique McKinney said, "Y'all give the Celtics too much credit. The Bulls can easily frustrate the Celtics." Maybe.
That's interesting, Dominique. Yeah, it would depend on if we're healthy.
Yeah.
You about to say something, Jamar?
No, I mean, yeah, it all, like you said, it all comes back down to health. It's like I have an idea what our ceiling is, but I can't really know until we're all the way there. It didn't help that Lonzo had a setback in his rehab, so it's going to be a couple more weeks. But hey, maybe Patrick Williams, get his legs back under him, get back in rhythm here since he's back. Caruso, just I hope they actually keep Caruso in the starting lineup especially when the playoffs come, because I'd rather for him to be out there starting along and have moved DeMar to the 4, LaVine at the 3, Lonzo at the 1. I'd rather have that lineup to start the game with, honestly.
Very small ball. Okay, and you keep Nicole at the center?
Yeah, but I have to stagger them in and out though, based on the lineups. Because I feel like right now he might be our weakest link, and as good as he is, let's just say we play Philly, darn well he's not doing anything with Embiid. We already talked about that. We seen it. He's just not. Get him out of there.
And this is why I hope Patrick Williams is developing, because if he develops, y'all, you put him at the 4. You put him at the 4. You put Nikola at the center. And I think, Jamar, if you got Patrick there, he can help frustrate Embiid just a little bit. He can, help frustrate, as example, Tobias Harris. I feel like I would like Patrick Williams' chance in shutting down Tobias. That's just me. And so, I think that kid is very important for us, man. And I just hope he can somehow get warmed up or developed in time. And I just really hope that Lonzo could come back. But the status on Lonzo ain't looking so good, but I'm hoping he can come back. Just a final question, fellas. If the Bulls finish between 5 and 8, are they making it out of the first round? Is it vital for them to make it in that top 4?
Yeah, but it also is vital who they match up against.
Yeah.
Because it's like Sixers, I feel like we just can't beat them. I feel like that'd be a first round exit. Milwaukee probably be a first round exit. But I feel like we play better against Milwaukee than we do Philly. Miami, depending on what Heat team you get, they're tough. I mean,
yeah, I feel like we could beat them.
Yeah. Boston, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if Dominique's theory comes into play, then maybe we got a chance. Other than that, I don't know. I think matchup is more so the importance than home court going forward.
Yes, it'll be very interesting, guys. I'm just very interested in seeing how things develop. Did Patrick Williams come back already, y'all?
Yeah.
How did he look against the Pelicans? Because I know we got whooped against the Pelicans the other day. So he came back. I know he was coming back. So he came back against the Raptors. They got the win. And then we played Milwaukee. We got beat up. And then we went to New Orleans. That really hurt it. And, we just got whooped against New Orleans. But guess New Orleans is ascending over there. putting pressure on the Lakers. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
New Orleans
man.
in 9th, LA in 10th right now.
So, fellas, that is pretty much it this morning, man, in regards to conversation. Dominique stated that Caruso, Ball, DeRozan, Levine close out fourth quarter be crucial indeed. I've watched the Celtics self-destruct in the playoffs every year. So Dominique is definitely not a believer of the Celtics. And you got good reason, Dominique, to believe that for sure. And so Jamar, you can beat me up about me calling you out about Patrick Williams. You're my brother. It's totally fine. You can beat me up. I just firmly believe that if Patrick Williams is on this court with us, he makes us a lot dangerous. This guy with his height, with his athletic ability, if he could just put the ball in the hoop just a little bit, he could be better than Butler. If he could just score the ball, because he got all the other attributes, everything else. Vital piece for us. I hope that he ascends, and I hope that Ball can find some way to get back on the court. If Ball gets back on the court, Patrick Williams is on the court with Caruso, watch out, East. Watch out. Even if they're in the lower part, they're going to be a very tough out. And I'm just saying, if you look at the Bulls and you plan them as a 7 or 8 seed, you be like, damn, this team was the 1 seed for most of the season. That might hit your head in that moments in that series. You'd be like, all right, they pretty good. I might have a tough series here. And so this is the potential of the Bulls for sure. Any final thoughts? Jamar, you can beat me up. It's totally fine, bro. In regards to my Patrick Williams take.
I have no ill will against Mr. Williams there. I hope you're right. I really do.
Man, I feel like that boy got a chance.
He does. Final thoughts. As we come to the end of the month of March, this month has proved why March is my favorite month of sports, because it's just been chaos the whole month. I've stated a million times, I'll state it again, I've been a kid at the candy store the whole month. If you can't tell by how actively I've been posting in our Facebook group, then I don't know what else to tell you. But between the March Madness and the NFL offseason and everything else in between, I'm loving it. So all things must come to an end here shortly, but I definitely enjoyed my March this year.
Yeah. So, bro, when do the NFL free agency come to an end? Like, when is that?
I mean, technically there is no end. It's just more so when
when is the big news and all that stuff kind of stop? Like, is it we already at that point, or
no? We still got a lot of people out there.
Yeah, it's basically when all the good players, all the big players are taken up already. That's when it comes to an end. This has been the most craziest, lengthiest, impressive NFL offseason I've ever witnessed.
I agree, man. I agree. We still got Baker out there. Still got a lot of Bobby Wagner's out there.
Wagner. Like Tyrann Mathieu.
Yep.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Julio.
Yeah.
Julio.
Jarvis Landry.
Yep.
Odell. It's a lot. It's a lot of people.
It's some talent out there for sure. And so, yeah. Bears, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue to build for the future? Or are you gonna grab a big man?
Hey, they're making smart moves, man. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, we'll see, man. As long as this adds up, hopefully with the Bears, then I'm happy. As long as it adds up. So we'll see, man, the moves that they make. NFL free agency, man, definitely a lot going on right now. And man, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend, bro?
I want to shout out Shaheem Holloway, coach for St. Peter's. Quick fun fact: the '96 McDonald's All-American game with featured Kobe Bryant, Steven Jackson, Rip Hamilton, a lot of guys from the '96 class. He was the All-Star Game MVP.
Wow. MVP. Okay, because I started to read some on him and I saw it and I didn't get a chance.
Yep, he was the MVP. A lot of people thought it should have been Steven Jackson, but he ended up winning MVP. So he's got a long history of basketball. So yeah, shout out to Shaheem Holloway, man. They Cinderella team this year.
Wow, that is awesome, man. Thank you for that, man.
Oh.
That is a good 411. Yes, everybody, y'all be safe. Yes, COVID is still alive a little bit, y'all. So don't sleep all the way. If you can get vaccinated, get boosted, do your part. It makes everybody safe. And on the other hand, I appreciate everybody rocking with us. Jamar, Ian, appreciate you guys. Jamar, you can beat me up about that Patrick Williams take. Okay, it's solely up to you. And so yes, I think it's vitally important. Shout out to the Bulls, man. I want to shout out my Bulls because I know we're going through a tough time, but hang in there, keep your head, get your health, and I'm looking forward to the Eastern Conference playoffs. March Madness, man. Charlie, bro, we watching. And if you can get it done tomorrow, I'm going to pop a bottle of champagne just for you because you my boy. You went to Morgan Park, Southside kid. You gave us a lot of great memories at Morgan Park. And if you could bring us anywhere or bring Miami anywhere near a national championship, your legendary status just goes through the roof. And so, yes, everybody enjoy the Elite Eight. Enjoy the Elite Eight and enjoy life. You only got one life to live. Thank you all for chopping it up with us this morning. Myself, Jamar, and Ian, we truly appreciate you guys. Great conversation this morning. Peace.